So this is the Wolverine Airsoft SMP. We have a couple different products here we're going to talk about. We're going to start with our standard SMP, which is this guy right here. This is SMP stands for single moving part. There's one moving part in the entire system. That's the nozzle right there. That's all that moves. It's actuated by air in both directions. You can see the air line comes in here. This runs off of an HPA tank. And this is a cylinder replacement unit. So you take your gearbox, you strip all the internals out of the gearbox, and this fits where the cylinder sits. Okay? So it's then electronically controlled, so it has a solenoid on the back. The solenoid is controlled via an FCU. That allows you to change your rate of fire, your dwell settings, and all that type of stuff.
You put that between the battery and the SMP?
Yes, that's correct. The battery plugs into that, and then the SMP is run off of that. So a little more on how the SMP works. It's direct solenoid fired, so that means that the air firing the BB flows through the solenoid valve. So at rest, the nozzle sits in the back position, so it's open bolt design. When the solenoid opens, it pushes air through, it pushes on the back of the nozzle, pushes the nozzle forward. Right as the nozzle gets all the way forward, an air pathway opens up, allowing the air to then fire the BB. You close the solenoid valve, the nozzle cycles back, and you're right back where you started. So this is it's then electronically controlled by the FCU, so you can run different rates of fire. You can run burst mode. You can run, all different settings. So the velocity is set by your pressure. On the regulator that you run this with, you'll change the pressure so you can run any velocity you want pretty much with just one system. The nozzles are interchangeable. So whether it's an M4 or an AK or M249, it doesn't matter. It's all the same system, but just the nozzle changes. Okay, so that's our standard system, and that's been on the market for a while. We are just coming out with a different variation of that, which is we're calling the blowback SMP. It has a port machined into the top of the unit that makes it work with the G&G pneumatic blowback system. So, however, all the blowback is much, much stronger since it's powered by HPA instead of an AEG. So we had to replace all the internals of the blowback system. The spring is much stiffer. All that kind. These pieces are now CNC aluminum as opposed to plastic. So it's very much more robust.
So you will feel it definitely.
There's some tactile feedback. It's not a real strong kick, but it's much more distinct than, say, the stock G&G system, which has no.
So it's not really comparable to a gas blowback, or maybe
it's somewhere in between a gas blowback and nothing there at all, shall we say? Relative to, say, if you're used to shooting an HPA gun, just a standard HPA gun, there's no feedback at all. Relative to that, there's a nice, crisp blowback. Relative to something that kicks really hard, it's not all that dramatic. So it's just a different product to have on the market. For some people, not for others. That's some people want it as simple as possible. Others like the blowback mechanism. So no, okay. So the new product we're coming out with right now, we are just announcing this. Some of the more details on this today. This is Hydra. So this is a very similar design. This is a prototype design. The final product will look a little different. It'll have toolless disassembly instead of the screws on the side to disassemble it and stuff like that. But this prototype functions. The design is the same in concept as an SMP. Okay, so the airline you don't see, it's internal now, so it's machined into the body. If you pull this collar off, you can see where the airport is there. Okay, so it's all machined in. It's very streamlined. The big difference with Hydra is that it can take it can work with offset nozzle designs. So guns like the M14, the P90, PDR, there are a bunch of others, but it can work with that, and it's exactly the same system. All that changes between a centered air nozzle, like this one is, and an off-center design is just the nozzle, one piece. Everything else is identical. So, so yeah, this is Hydra. We're very excited about this. This is the only product on the market that does this, and we're excited to get it out there. In addition, something you'll be one of the first people to see. We are announcing just today that we will be rolling out a Bluetooth FCU with Hydra. This will be available very shortly after the initial launch. This allows you to connect via your phone. You can change your settings. You can change your rate of fire, your dwell. Right now it's still in development. If you'd like to see, I can do a demo.
So let me guess, the app is going to work for Android and iOS.
It will. It will. That's correct. Right now we just have an Android app, but we'll be developing an iOS very soon. And this is like I said, a very early version of both the software. So it's still being developed, but you can see it connected to the board. And now if I plug in my trigger board, probably can't hear that. Maybe if you put the microphone down by the unit, you can hear it run. Okay, so then if I change the rate of fire, okay, you can change your burst. So you're just doing a burst now. On the final production version of the software, we will have a lot more features. We'll have it will save settings for you. It will have shot counters, both a lifetime shot counter and a resettable shot counter. And it will have security measures as well. That's the thing that everybody asks about with Bluetooth. Oh, somebody's going to hack my gun while I'm playing. Now, you'll have to have a passcode in order to access it. And in addition to that, it'll have a tournament lock system built in. So you'll have a system where the game organizer can lock the Bluetooth for the duration of the game so that you can't access it.
What kind of Bluetooth is it? Is it Bluetooth Smart or is it normal Bluetooth?
It's Bluetooth LE, Bluetooth Low Energy, so 4.0. So it'll work with all of your newer devices.
You set the different settings, so you have the chance to make different settings.
Yes, you can do all your different settings. You can. You'll have quite a few different options on the final version. Right now, we're still building the software for that.
So at least, of course, the most important thing to know, when will we get it here in Europe?
It will be released simultaneously in the US and Europe, so it won't be very long. We are looking at probably an April release for Hydra by itself. The Bluetooth will probably be May, possibly June. Depending on how the rest of the development for the software goes. Hardware is complete, it's ready to go, but just need to finish up the software. So it's not far away at all. We'll be opening it up for pre-orders very soon.